manufacturing sector. We know that there is a lot of fascinating developments going on which is accelerating everything we are doing with automotive and transport vehicles. And there's a lot of talk about self-driving cars. There's a lot of talk about how quickly we are emerging into a world in which we are going to have autonomous vehicles. I was flying down here yesterday and I was kind of thinking, how do we put in perspective the reality of where we are today with autonomous vehicle technology? And I scribbled down some thoughts, and here's what I came to realize. Self-driving car technology today is a lot like teenage sex. And you got to realize what happened in the front row here. This wasn't in my slide deck, that I reviewed with folks at Siemens, and senior management is now kind of sitting here going, "Whoa, this makes me nervous. Where is this going?" But it's a really good analogy. I jotted down my thoughts, and I want you to think about why is self-driving vehicle technology a lot like teenage sex? Nobody's sure what it is, but they hear that it's really great. Everybody thinks that everybody else is doing it. The few who are doing it, they're not doing it really well. Those who say they are doing it are probably lying. Everybody hopes it's going to be really great when they finally do it. I mean, it's a good analogy, but here's the thing about where we are. You ever hear about the Gartner hype cycle? Gartner came out years ago, and they said that for any new technology that comes out, we go through the hype cycle, where we get the trigger, we get the concept, we get the idea, everybody becomes excited. We hit the peak of inflated expectations. This is a massive change. It's going to provide so much opportunity. And then we have to figure out how to make it work. And we realize it's a little bit more complex than we think, and so we hit the trough of disillusionment, and eventually, over time, we hit the slope of enlightenment and the plateau of productivity. And that's what we're going through with autonomous vehicle technology. That's what we're going through with the renaissance that is occurring in North American manufacturing, with all these new sophisticated methodologies and capabilities. But I want you to think this way. When you think about the future, you have to think like Bill Gates. Not that, 640K will be enough for everybody, but, one of the most brilliant statements he ever made, that most people tend to overestimate the rate of change will occur on a 2-year basis. They underestimate how much change will occur on a 10-year basis. Do you think the automotive sector is going to look anything in 10 years like it does today? Not at all. Do we think manufacturing methodologies and process and business models are going to be anything in 10 years like they are today? Not at all. So I want to talk to you about 5 issues. A little bit of automotive, a little bit of manufacturing, the theme of acceleration, the theme of connectivity, the theme of process reinvention, the issue of skills intensity, and what happens with generations. We need to appreciate that the automotive sector is in the midst of a massive, fundamental transformation, which we can barely even begin to comprehend. And the challenge for a lot of folks when we're working within an industry is we tend to put our blinders on. We think that the future is going to unfold with the same methodologies and business models of the past. Look, in 2003, it was brought over to Stuttgart, Germany by Daimler Chrysler. This was the newly merged entity of these two organizations. And it was a strategic planning meeting. Our goal was to define what is the auto industry going to look like in the year 2013. We had 10 engineers from Chrysler. We had 10 engineers from Mercedes. It's kind of fascinating. We go out to lunch. I'd go out to lunch with the Mercedes guys. All they would do was dump all over the Chrysler vehicles. Then I'd go out to dinner with the Chrysler guys, and all they would do was dump over, Mercedes vehicles. No wonder the merger never worked. But the goal was to define what is the industry going to look like in 10 years. And they started the very first morning, and I was there to be the rabble-rouser, a futurist, to shake up their thinking. They started the very first morning defining the industry of 2013, 10 years out, in terms of what it looked like in 2003. And their conversations were sort of going, well, we know Toyota's going to do this, we know Honda's going to do that, Ford's going to do this, we know GM's going to do that. And I finally said to them, folks, the world doesn't work that way anymore. You might find yourself competing against companies in the automotive sector in 10 years who aren't even in the industry today. One of the comments that was made was, it's not going to happen. This is the automotive industry. It costs billions to build a manufacturing complex. It's not as if just anybody can become a car manufacturer. And I said, well, it could happen. In my world, we see a lot of disruption of business models. They said, give us an example. They were trying to call me out. Well, at that point in time, 2003, Stuttgart, Germany, I have my laptop open. I Google Maps on the screen. Google Maps was appearing for the very first time around 2003. Remember that first time you saw your house from space? You were kind of, whoa, look at that. It's not like you hadn't seen your house before. Until we were mesmerized by the concept. And I was thinking quickly, and I said, look, we could have a couple of engineers at Googleplex headquarters in Mountain View, California, right now. And they're looking at Google Maps. And one of those engineers says to the other Google engineer, you know, this mapping technology we built is really cool. We should build a car around this. I said, right now in 2003, we could have engineers at Google deciding to get into the automotive industry. I said, they're not actually going to build the car. It's all about collaboration. It's all about partnership, the theme of this event here. They're simply going to line up with an existing car manufacturer in Brazil, India, China, Tennessee, doesn't matter where. I said they're going to be very big into new distribution methodologies. I said, look, nobody likes buying cars from an auto dealer. We always feel like we're getting ripped off. People are starting to buy things online. They're going to buy the car from you over the internet a year in advance as a beta. I said they're going to be very big in logistics, partnership. The car is going to be delivered to you by FedEx. It's going to come in a box. And I'm just winding myself up. I'm a rabble-rouser. I said, look, the box is going to say Google car on it. And there's this thing called viral marketing, this thing called social networking coming. When you open up that Google car in a box, you're going to discover the Google car party in a box. You're going to have streamers and confetti and wine and horns, and you're going to throw the Google car party all your neighbors because you got the coolest car on the planet. How do you think these very serious auto engineers in Stuttgart, Germany, are reacting to the concept of Google becoming a car company? Probably the same thing going through your mind. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Absolutely ludicrous. Fast forward to 2012, Tesla Motors. I know we're all talking about Tesla. I know there's a lot of hype and excitement about Tesla. I know there's a lot of skepticism about Tesla, but think about what is happening. I'm down from Toronto. My home is about 2 miles from what used to be the North American Ford truck assembly plant, which is now the Ford SUV plant. Think about the business model that we have there. It is a business model in which we build to inventory. We retool the plant. We build 700,000 vehicles. We put them out to dealers. We put them out to lots in the hope that they sell. Tesla has fundamentally changed the model and turned it around on its head. We are going to build to demand. We are going to get your order. We are going to manufacture based on that order. And we are going to learn to scale to increasing demand. We're going to shake up the business model, the distribution model. We're not going to have dealers. We're going to put automotive showrooms into high-end fashion malls in Scottsdale, Arizona, where you have a different experience. And think about what is happening here. What we are getting is a fundamentally different view of the future of what automotive could look like. And then think about how quickly the nature of the beast is going to change. What could be really big just 5 years from now? Are we going to have the Jetsons, self-flying cars? I think one of the most fascinating technologies that is emerging out there today, that is showing us the path to autonomy, is occurring with drone technology. Go to lily.camera, and it's a startup, and you get this drone helicopter, and you've got some type of device that you put on your arm or on your belt, and it automatically follows you around. It locks onto you and uses GPS. I said to my golf pro, what is going to happen if I show up in the first tee this year and I've got a little hovering drone overhead me and it's filming my entire round? Do you, as a club, have a policy on this? He looks at me and thinks I'm nuts. This technology is coming at us with staggering speed. The pace of development of autonomous technology is absolutely staggering. The pace of evolution of the technology we will find in our vehicles is absolutely staggering.